Next up, round 2, we have Fate of the Furious versus Barbarella.
Barbarella versus Fate of the Furious.
This should be interesting.
Okay.
I gotta say, I'm going Barbarella on this one.
Ouch.
Yeah, sure. I'll go with you on that. Because Fate of the Furious is an action movie, and it stays an action movie.
It does.
And it delivers. It's what I like to think of is it's the most... Oh, hell no! Of any movie I've ever seen.
Oh, sick!
Where, like, you're driving and, like, oh, and the camera's really shaky, oh, and then, like, you turn to the person next to you, like, oh, hell no! That happens throughout the whole movie. And it is completely crazy, and it's all over the top, but as much fun as it is, because of the world it's set up, it establishes this thing, but they behave consistently like human beings would in that world.
Yes.
So, like, Vin Diesel's child has been kidnapped. So he's like, I have to protect this child. I'm being, like, extorted into behaving in a way I normally wouldn't. This is a normal thing. People would do this.
And while you set up that Charlize Theron's character, who can hack literally anything in the world...
She's the very definition of high-tech terrorism. And now, she's working with your guy.
Isn't a thing that could exist in our world, at least not now.
Right.
Because it's established, it plays by its own rules.
Right.
The crazier and crazier the things are that she's able to do, we believe it. We buy it. So it doesn't feel quite as crazy. I was actually surprised that you chose this one, just because I thought, never having seen any of those movies, I thought, isn't it just like an action flick? And then I saw it and I understood why you chose it. But I think that, Barbarella just keeps reinventing itself.
It is completely bananas. And so it's a sci-fi movie, but it's more like a fantasy movie. There's nothing sci-fi about it.
Yeah.
It would be much more reasonable if this movie were like a Sinbad type thing, where she sails from one island to another and has these adventures from one place to another. That would make perfect sense. It doesn't need to be a sci-fi thing at all. In fact, it might make more sense given like the angel guy at the end is not a sci-fi friendly character. There's like the sex machine thing that is not a fantasy type thing because it's mechanical, but it would make more sense in a fantasy world. Anyway, so the angel makes it completely crazy. That character comes out of nowhere. It doesn't fit into the rest of the world at all. Yeah. She just shows up, and then it's like, oh, it saved the day because it had sex with Jane Fonda, and her magical sexual abilities were able to suddenly make it be able to fly.
Love.
I'm like, great, Jane, you're a lovely girl. I mean, she's no Dani Marcus, but I'm just saying.
I was gonna say, true story.
She's no Dani Marcus. Just spoiler alert. I had sex with Dani Marcus last night. Just saying.
Timothy.
Barbarella.
You ask, how could these pairings get any crazier? Just you wait, Henry Higgins. Join us for episode 20, Dogtooth versus Holy Motors.